panic about it, because I knew that, okay, whatever it is, no matter how big, how long, how much the report of the doctor is, I knew that God's report supersedes every other report. And who is it that saith a thing where the Lord commanded it not? I understand. People, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm glad you're here. My name is Abimbola. You can call me Abby, and this space is all about faith, prayer, and walking closely with God. If it won't build your faith, you won't find it here. And today I'll be telling you about our planned and unplanned wait. While it may not look like it was like a long time, but sometimes you don't need like a duration to classify what you go through during your waiting season, or what you go through just right before your miracle comes. So even if a duration is like a year, I don't want you to like belittle that time, because so much can happen in a year. While it's also important to trust God through that process. This is probably going to be a long video, so I would most likely divide it into 2 parts, and I'll be sharing my story, build it up to where we are right now. So right now we're about 30 weeks and 3 days pregnant, and I'm so excited because we're getting close, and I'm so grateful to God for how far He has brought us. And I am so certain that this would end in praise. I am certain that this is going to be a positive birth story, and I'll definitely be sharing everything with you. Stick with me. If you're new here, please subscribe, hit the like button so YouTube can show it to many more people, and let's build together a family of faith. Since I was a little girl, I've been so shy about sharing anything that has to do with menstruation. It may sound very odd to you that, okay, menstruation is something that every girl should probably know about, or should probably be talking about, but I know I'm probably not the only one who is probably shy about it. But I don't know why, but since I was little, it has always been like a thing that I don't want to talk about. Not with family. I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's funny because I literally run away from conversations. And I remember my immediate elder sister, she just be she will notice. She will know that, okay, this girl is, something is fishy, because I was my kurukere. If you don't understand Yoruba, kurukere means sneaky. I was being all sneaky about it, and sometimes she knows. I just be like, this girl, and I'm sure she knows, right? But she just keep quiet about it, and she's my G. So, but she knows. I think she knows that I don't like talking about it, so she just respects that, and that's one thing I truly love her for. She respects your boundaries, so we are really close, but she respects your boundary a lot. So I've always been so shy talking about it. I don't want to ever talk about it, and then I kind of had like a complication. And I'll tell you more about it in this video. And when I start explaining it, you probably know what it is already. The complication was that times for like a whole month I would be seeing my period, or I wouldn't see it for like 3 months, 2 months. But because I was still in my teenage years, I didn't really see it as a big deal until I felt really sick in school. So this time I was seeing my period for like more than a month. You know what it is like being a student, and when I was in school, you are very comfortable, but so it's not like we had abundance in that sense, but we were comfortable. So I felt sick. I was really sick, and it was more like I was losing so much blood, and I wasn't taking any supplements. I wasn't taking anything. I was just quiet about it. I did not speak to anybody about it. And this is a very bad thing to do. Please, if you know someone in that position, please try to help them. I don't know why I was like that, but it was not a very good thing. So this is me bringing out an awareness that there is actually something like this. And if you have someone who does this, please help them out. Help them to speak up. So I felt really sick. My blood level had significantly dropped, and I didn't know. So when it was getting so worse, they were like, okay, ship her back home. Of course, not ship, but they shipped me back to my house, my father's house. They put me in my sister and a friend of ours put me in a bus back to our hometown. It was quite far. I got home. My parents saw me and they were like, no, something is wrong somewhere. So my mom initially took me to like a nurse around the area. So the woman was like, this girl's eyes is white and So the woman was not very conscious, and she was like, no, like, let us, we need to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. I think I initially went with my brother or my dad. Then they had to, they took the blood test. We had to go back for the test, and they were like, oh, that my PCV was already on 19. On 19. My PCV was really low. The hospital said that, no, that I had to stay, and they had to admit me immediately, and they would probably have to do like a blood transfusion and yada yada yada. So I was like, hey God, I was looking at what's going on. I think I was already in like 200 level. I know it was between 200 level and 100 level by then. So I was like, what's going on? This is like, what is happening? And my brother was like, that we can come back, we will come back tomorrow, because there was no form of preparation and all. So he was like, we're going to come back tomorrow, that we need to come back the next day. Then the doctor made him sign a document stating that whatever happens to me over the night, that he's going to be responsible for it. And because he knew that, okay, we needed that, I think that was like, our HMO, because of where my dad was working at that time. So well, he just knew that, okay, we needed to come back the next day. So mommy took me to the clinic to the hospital the next day, and they had to drive us an ambulance to the main hospital. Then I got admitted that day, and it was just, my mom was with me in the hospital throughout. She was so worried. She was praying. She gave me ugu, like it's a leaf that people use to build their blood level. While we're also in the hospital, she gave me that before we went to the hospital, and she was just so concerned. But me, to be honest, I think I was just floating at that time, because I did not even know what I was just doing. I felt that this thing that I didn't tell anybody about it, and it was more like, hey, what I didn't want to share now came out in the open. I had to speak about it. I was all I didn't know what to do. So it was just, everyone was worried for me, but I thank God I passed that phase. It happened again. So, but God is faithful. I can always say that it doesn't matter what you're going through, God is able to, bring you out of it. But it's also very important to know when to speak up. It's very important to know when to speak up. Don't die in silence. Make sure you speak to someone who can actually help you in any situation that you find yourself. So fast forward to when I got married. So before we got married, we already had this in mind that we're going to wait. We had a planned wait for 2 years, and God is so faithful. He really blessed me with a very good man, like a very kind man, and it was more like a major blessing for me. So our marriage, our whole wedding, at first we had to adjust to married, the regular, adjust to being in each other's space and all. But God has been so faithful. God really blessed me with a good man. So we had planned weight, and because I had those episodes, the doctors advised against us having any weight. I'm going to break it here that before we moved in Nigeria, I was diagnosed with ovarian cysts. I think I had quite a number of hospital visits. There was ovarian cysts diagnosis, there was PCOS diagnosis, and these two things are actually different. Ovarian cysts is like when they're like some dots or something on the ovaries, and PCOS is different from that. But when I moved and I went to the hospital, I was like, okay, you don't have anything to worry about. I had a scan done, and they were like, symptoms of PCOS, but there is really nothing to worry about. But before then, we already had at a time where we were waiting, and this wait was planned, because we knew that we had so much going on. We knew that we still had a journey ahead of us, and we decided before marriage that we were going to wait for 2 good years. So that was our planned wait. Our planned wait was 2 years. It's funny because sometimes you just wonder that we decided to wait for 2 years. We didn't know that we didn't know that there's still like another year of waiting ahead of us. I've actually heard stories about it before, how people say that they actually planned to wait and then they had an actual wait. So although our actual wait wasn't so long, and I'm grateful for it, and I really pray for anyone who is in that situation. You are waiting and trusting God for your baby. I pray that God is able to see you through. God comes through for you, and even before the end of this year, whatever year you're going to watch this video, before the end of this year, you are going to carry your own baby, you carry your own miracle baby, and you'll be living in your answered prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. This unplanned weights, we decided to keep the faith, but I got a bit weary at a point. I got weary. I was like, what's going on? So by the grace of God, I'm privileged to be one of the ladies who lead prayers, TTC, and pregnant women in prayers. And to the glory of God, on the group, like, testimonies were flowing, and I was already in my unplanned weights period. And I'm like, and when testimonies were flowing, to be honest, I don't think it's a very good position or good position to, for your heart to be in. I was like, when testimonies were flowing, people were giving birth, people were conceiving, we're all happy, thanking God, grateful that God has answered people's prayers. But I was in that position where I'm like, God, when is my own going to happen? So when someone shares her testimony, I'm like, God, when is my own going to happen? Of course, I'll be grateful to God that God is answering our prayers. Our prayers are not in vain, right? But I'm like, all over shadow. God, I beg now. What's going on? And I had to make sure that I posture my heart back where it should be, to actually rejoice and not have thoughts around, when is my own going to happen, all of that stuff. But I was really worried. And like I said in my previous video, that aside from praying on that group, I laid it in my heart during my personal devotions to pray for pregnant women and people who were trusting God for a baby. And at this time, this was the situation. This was my situation. And I'm like, God, what is happening? What's happening to me? I'm like, God, I'm there. Sometimes you go through some things and you're like, it's not like you're not reminding God to see you. You're reminding God to not forget you, while God has never and we will never forget you. So it was quite overwhelming for me at that period. I gave so much gist about it in my previous video, so if you want to go back to that video and listen to everything I said there. So during this planned wait, I went on more hospital visits. So on one of the hospital visits that I went for, I went to go and pick up a prescription. God laid the name of our baby in my heart. It was clear as day. And this was when I was already getting overwhelmed. And I'm like, okay. And I held on to it. I got back home, I told my husband about it, and he was like, oh yeah, it's resonated with him, as this is something that God has put in our hearts in this season. And that name, it actually helped us in that season of wait. So it was more like what God did was to help us to build our faith, to make us know that this is going to happen. But the Bible says in Habakkuk 2:3 that the vision is set for an appointed time, though it might tarry, wait for it to surely come. So that really helped us in our season of waiting. It was brief, right? It wasn't long, but it's actually helped us in that season, and we held on to it, trusting God. And we knew that, and because of the name, we knew that, okay, this is the gender. We know this is the gender we're going to have. And of course, you'll be seeing this video when our baby has already arrived. And so we're having a girl, and our girl's name is Zoe. That is the name that God laid in our heart. So I'll talk about it later in another video. And I also did something during this waiting season. I'll share more about it in another video. So I'll be releasing another video about what I did during my waiting season. When I said that there were symptoms of PCOS, but I made sure that I did not rest on that reality. I trusted God. I didn't even make it a thing for me to start panicking about. I didn't even panic about it, because I knew that, okay, whatever it is, no matter how big, how long, how much the report of the doctor is, I know that God's report supersedes every other report. And who is it that saith a thing when the Lord commanded it not? I know God, and I trusted God that this is not my reality. My reality is that I am a fruitful vine. I am fat and flourishing. I know that PCOS, ovarian cysts, is not my reality. And God is able to make me triumph over these reports.